Des Hasler. Do you think Manly need Des Hasler? Do they need that type of coach again, or what?
They think they need him again, I guess. He had a lot of success there. Maybe they're seeing it as, okay, he's gone away now. The structure's kind of fallen away, and it's become a bit of a culture where they are losing a lot more, and they want to revisit that old culture. And maybe now that all that playing group's kind of moved on and there's new guys in there, that might work for that group of players. It's easy to say you don't want him there because of how it ended and all that stuff, but no one really knows until they see it happen again. And he might be a genius again come this time next year, you know what I mean?
Well, he left in 2011 after they won the premiership, and then he coached the Bulldogs for 6 seasons, and he improved them the first couple of years, but after that it became a bit of a stale thing there, and maybe Manly might return to that staleness that was there. I don't know.
Well, who knows? You can't say until you see it play out. Everyone's an expert until they're wrong.
I would have actually taken Michael Maguire. He'd be the sort of bloke, I think, for away from the Manly sort of thing, just someone completely new and just putting it
fresh face. Would have went for, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes, I don't know. It's a tough one because Des Hasler knowing the club, the culture of the club, and having time away and time to reflect. I think it's interesting that they're going for that again.
I think if they sign Des, they should sign guys like Tuvey as an assistant, Cliff Lyons, Bobby Fulton, Beaver Menzies, get them all back there.
Get everyone back, you reckon?
Oh, shit, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what happens. Who cares? It's Manly anyway.
There's a lot of Manly fans out there.
There is. There is. They've always been a solid club, hey? They were always one of our toughest battles in my era and then your era as well.
Yeah. Well, Tuvey made them even tougher. He did well with them for a number of years there.
And, did he win? He won a comp with them, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah,
he did.
I can't remember.
Jared.
Yeah. What else?
Jared Hayne. He's still waiting to sign with a contract with the Earls.
Yeah.
Have you heard?
Everyone's spraying him on Twitter.
Spraying him? What are they spraying him for?
Oh, he wrote something about. Someone asked him something. He wrote, "I'm still waiting 5 weeks or something." And some bloke underneath, some doctor from Brisbane, wrote, "Oh, get off Twitter and go and have a conversation with your club." And I said to him, "Mate, get off Twitter and go and have a conversation with your therapist. Ask him why you're so upset about someone's tweet, another man's tweet or something." And he hit me back with, "You know what? You're right, Eric." He threw like or something. I was like, "Oh, sorry, mate." It's just thought I'd buy into it, stick up for an old friend.
You're one of those keyboard warriors.
Oh, well, I was keyboard worrying a keyboard warrior.
Yeah, right.
Well, they're hammering. Twitter is brutal. Twitter's like where everyone goes to be a prick, I reckon.
That's why I got off it.
Oh, really? Yeah. If you get emotionally attached to it, it can do your head in. But if you don't, it's kind of fun, you know?
Yeah. I know you love it. You love a bit of fun there.
Yeah, I love starting a bit of shit. That's how bored I am.
Well, anyway, I reckon if they sign him, if they come to an agreement, I reckon they should be 12 months, no more, and just take it year by year. And I'd sign him to play on the wing. I would have signed him to play anywhere else but on the wing. He's not a playmaker. I've always said that, and he's got the ability to throw a long pass, but that's where it ends for me. He's a wing, he's a finisher, and if he gets opportunities, he can do anything.
I think wing or fullback, fine. Like, honestly, obviously in 2009 when he had that year, he was fullback. Any position where he doesn't have to organise others. I think he's such an instinctual, natural athlete that reacts on instinct a lot of time and is a naturally gifted runner of the football. And he's also uncalculated and unscripted sometimes.
Yeah.
And it plays off the back of what his instincts are telling him. Like things like if there's the other team drops the ball, he picks the ball up and reacts straight away to what's in front of him. Instead of him having to see a couple of plays ahead and work to a part on the field and then orchestrate troops around him to do what he needs them to do in order for them to succeed. I think that's not his go. He's definitely not. He's an athlete that gets the ball and does great things when he doesn't have to worry about those around him as much.
Yeah, exactly. A player like that doesn't need that extra, a thought of trying to
responsibility.
Responsibility of trying to steer a team in any direction or whatever. Just play instinctively, as you said.
It's funny. It's easy to see from the outside in that that's the way it is. I guess it's different when you're there and seeing him at training every day and he wants his hands on the ball and he's calling shots and he's gone, telling blokes, yeah, I want this, I want that, and they're kind of naturally progressing to that. Someone who's that talented athletically, yeah, you know, it's easy to start to be pigeonholed into, also a playmaker or just get his hands on the ball as much as possible. But I think less is more with Jared. If he just had, 15 touches during the game and they were of him being the end result of a play opposed to him starting a play.
Yeah, that's well said. Yeah.
That's what I like about playing with Jared when we were playing in 09. Like, you would just see him just react more so than preempt.
That's all it was. Yeah, that's all it was. That's pretty much what the whole team was doing. I mean, the forwards were holding their own and going forward a bit, and you guys were just doing whatever you wanted. Yeah,
I always go on about the start of a set, but
I think exactly.
he had a lot of broken defensive lines to run at as a result of our first 3 and 4 plays.
That's right.
But mate, I think he had a good year.
He had a good year.
Yeah. I think he had a good year because I said it in that high tone because it's like may come as a shock to some people that he actually didn't have that bad of a year.
No, he played pretty well. He did, especially towards the end too, when they the last 5 or 6 games he was starting to sort of take a bit of. He had an impact on the game a lot more than what he had previously.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, rugby league.
And speaking about keyboard warriors, what about Ben Hunt? But just finding out the other day that his wife suffered a miscarriage early in the season, and he's been it's been hanging in his head, and he's been apparently he's been receiving advice from psychologists to confront any anxiety and apparently some isolation issues. So he's been going through a lot. So leave him the fuck alone.
Is he a prick or something?
Not that I know of. Why?
Well, it just seems like everyone's so quick to smash him, that bloke. Every time I hear anything about Ben Hunt, it's fucking negative.
Well, any time a team loses, or like the in the Australian team, and it's, straight away I've seen on social media, Ben Hunt should be there, but fuck off.
Yeah, what do they think? Like, I don't know. Some people, I guess their passion can blind them sometimes.
Blind them is ridiculous.
Oh, well, don't start me on the Conor McGregor fans. He got his fucking ass handed to him the other day, and they're still making excuses. Like, fucking, can't they just enjoy it without, like, being such a nut hugger on one side? Like, they're blinded by this. I don't know. They're blinded by stuff. I don't know. Yeah. And that's what I'm thinking. Like, he's fucking, every time I hear anything about Ben Hunt, it's so negative. I'm like, is he a prick and this is all bad karma or he deserves it all? Or I don't know.
No.
They make out like he's a monster.
Don't they?
He's just a young bloke having a fucking good go at making a career for himself. And they did the same thing happened with Mitchell Pearce. Like,
that's true.
He's had some incidents and things like that, but they carry on like he's Hitler.
Mm.
They can you look back on Mitchell Pearce's career, and a big part of remembering that is going to be remembering all the shit that went with it.
Yeah, exactly.
And unfortunately, some of that might be from his own doing, but it still doesn't deserve that friggin' ridicule and that backlash from the.
Well, Ben Hunt hasn't. Yeah, Ben Hunt hasn't done anything sort of off the field like Mitchell did, but it's just when there's a loss, whether it's St George or whether it's the Queensland team, he's always getting bagged, and it's his fault. And leave him the fuck alone. Christ, he's a good player on his day. He's a great player, and he puts in an effort every week. And the team that he's playing with mightn't be playing that well, or they get booed or whatever, but it's not his fault.
Yeah, like a lot of times the pivotal positions get the blame, because it's the steering of the team wasn't steered in the right direction, things like that. But yeah, it's so much more to it than just a halfback's fault. Like it's a combination of a lot of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess everyone's got an opinion. It just seems sometimes that they seem a little bit uneducated, the opinions, and more based on passion instead of logic, like emotion instead of logic.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's always the case, I reckon. especially the keyboard warriors, it's all about not really knowing the facts. It's about just how it makes them feel. So they'll just bag the shit out of someone and make it personal.
Yeah, sometimes I like keyboard warriors.
Yeah, I know you would.
Yeah, It's just, I don't know. It's wrong. It's wrong to. You shouldn't get too personal, but yeah.
Listen to you.
It's all right to start a little blue here and there, I guess.
Yeah,
everyone's got to just calm down. Everyone takes it too seriously. Like if someone says something, and people do get personal. But for instance, with the Conor McGregor stuff, like someone writes something about, Khabib, it was a great fight. Khabib completely outclassed him. And then they start on him. What do you fucking know? You're part timer. Like you only like Khabib lately, and because he beat McGregor. And it's just shit. Like What are you talking about? They're just so upset. Everyone's upset.
Did you? I didn't. I haven't watched the fight in its entirety or anything like that. Did he? Was he that much better than McGregor, Khabib?
It looked a bit like when I was 12 and my younger brother was 8, and I'd bash him up.
Oh, really?
It looked a bit like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It looked like a big brother kind of beating up on his little brother.
Okay.
Yeah. Just that style, I think, didn't suit Conor. Not that he couldn't possibly knock him out if if any man gets punched on the chin with a flush punch, it can put you to sleep.
Yeah, no matter who it is.
I think it's not that easy to just get that perfect shot, and especially when you're fighting a bit of a wrestler who kind of bumbles you into a corner, uses the back fence as like a body to kind of, overpower and strength.
Yeah.
Use their strength to get him down the ground and just kind of manhandle him a bit while he's on the ground. It just makes it all the more kind of interesting because of Conor's talk before a fight. The way he talks, like you buy into everything he says. You're like, fuck, this bloke believes it that much. You can see it in his eyes and his face that he really thinks it's going to happen, that you just jump on board and think, oh, shit. Before the fight started, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen now, because I was tipping Khabib the whole time. And then as it gets closer, I'm like, you know what? It's a big occasion. Khabib looks nervous, and it's just, who knows who's going to win here. This could be Conor because of confidence. You'll go in with, accurate and decisive strikes without overwhelmed from the situation that he's been in 1,000 times. But mate, Khabib just took him to school.
You've got UFC journo written all over you. You just
I watched a lot of it.
What the real fight for me started at the end of the fight.
Yeah, well, everyone kind of blew up about that too. It didn't look great because
ridiculous.
In hindsight, like it would have been better if Khabib kind of handled his emotions and then kind of just accepted the belt, put around his waist. He would have looked like the humble champion. But in saying that, if you watch the whole build-up, Conor threw a fucking trolley into a bus full of fucking dehydrated fighters with 20 of his mates slapping the bus, saying, get off the bus, get off the bus. The UFC used that in the promotions. They use it. Dana White blew up about it, said how disgusting it was. The next day he posted a link with the footage on it. UFC branded fucking footage, like to use it in the build-up, which it all happened and it all isn't part of the build-up. And then Conor goes to the press conference and he says a few things that are probably a little bit over the mark in regards to Khabib's father being a coward, getting all political with the Chechenian people and the Dagestani people. And then he said he's going to, do this to him and that to him. And at the end of it, it just got overwhelmed. He bagged his religion. He just went all out and smashed him. UFC used it all in promotion. So Khabib feels like probably after it, fucking, overwhelmed by it. So he's like, fuck yes, he's wanted a war. Here's the war. And then they blow up about the war that they started. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess when you really look at it and when it all dies down eventually completely and you look back, you would say Conor started a bit of a war outside of the cage. And when it got brought to the doorstep, everyone's whinging about it. It looks a bit silly from everyone's overreaction of what happened after the fight. But, yeah, it just doesn't look good for the sport. But, again, like, they're fighters. It's not like we're watching the sport to, like a game of cricket, a gentleman's game or anything.
No, but
you're throwing punches and it's hard to kind of differentiate. It's professional and you shouldn't, but yeah, I can see why Khabib, being someone from the Dagestani mountains who grew up pretty much with nothing and just trained his ass off and done everything the hard way, for him to be ridiculed and made fun of live and then that used as promotion, against his people, his father and his culture and his religion, And then for him to snap at the end and jump out and go for someone who was throwing insults at him from outside the cage, like, I don't think that's that big a deal. The biggest deal is all the shit that happened in the cage. Conor got hit from behind after he punched someone, and it's not great, but the whole thing wasn't great. Not just that incident. It was that's what Khabib was like. He couldn't understand after. He goes, I don't understand. Yeah, I've done a bad thing, but like, why did I do it? And how come nobody talks about this whole picture? It's just this one part. Now I'm the bad guy. Like, what about all the lead up when he said all this stuff about my family, culture, religion? Like, why does no one talk about this? They can't understand it because these Russians, they're like, they don't care about the cameras and the lights and all that shit. If you're saying stuff, they don't think, oh, it's just for show. They're like, no, you're fucking insulting my people. Like,
I think you see a lot of that sort of stuff. Not exactly like that, but in boxing or UFC or any type of one man against another man's sport, where it's such a relief to win because they all train their asses off. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and they've all got stories where they've come from a certain poorness or whatever, so they've reached these particular heights. But at the end of a fight of sorts, it's it's such a relief, and then all that background that sort of hits you, that where you've come from, and it becomes a slanging match. I mean, you look over the top of the person you've just knocked out, and you go, "Yeah, cop that, yeah." And all that sort of stuff. It happens in just about every one of the footage that I've seen of fighters winning their fight or whatever. So
yeah, it carries on to just after. It's like quite often people just once the bell that they've tapped out or the bell's gone or the ref stopped it or whatever, they stop. But yeah, it's a harder one to. You're fighting, throwing punches. 1 minute the bell goes, and you're supposed to just stop and not hate that person that said all this shit about you.
It's such a relief to win, I suppose, and all that. It's just a big. Oh, this is good. I'll just pump my chest out.
I'll tell you what. As much as they blow up about it, the UFC and Dana White sitting there just rubbing their hands together because it just makes for more of a story.
Yeah.
More people know about this fight because of what happened after it as well. Like, if it was just a fight, of course it was a massive fight and a lot of 2.4 million pay-per-views, a record of any fight, I'm pretty sure, not just UFC, I hear. 2.4 million. But, it's, I don't know, it surpassed all that and went out into pop culture when it starts dribbling out into the stands and shit. But, I don't know. Bottom line is, I guess, kind of started a bit of a war with some verbal that usually that goes in his favour. This time it didn't. And who cares? That's why Conor didn't press any charges or anything. First of all, he threw a punch inside the ring that started more of a brawl inside it. So he's not a fucking dog like that. He just thinks, I'll try and get them for everything or whatever. He's like, no, stuff all that. He's just disappointed that he lost the fight. And the way he lost after saying what he said would be embarrassing for him. He put himself out there like he does, and that's why he's so great too. He did it with Mayweather. You know what's amazing? I just find it amazing. Everyone believes everything he says all the time. It's like you can't. It's just he's got this. He puts this trance over his fans that
Conor.
They don't see. Yeah, they don't see outside of. They can they just think everything he says is gospel and it's going to happen.
I was Ubering the other day, the day of the fight, and I picked up some Irish ladies, and they were going to some place at Bondi to watch it and stuff like that, and they loved him. They absolutely loved him. They thought he did nothing. He's done nothing wrong, and it's such a part of their culture that someone like that sort of rises up from humble beginnings and stuff like that. So he's got every right to be mouthing off and saying whatever he wants to. It was quite amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty. He does well at getting the whole of Ireland on side and making it about the Irish people and things, but. I don't know. I just see it as a big song and dance.
It is.
He's a phenomenal athlete. He's got so many qualities about him, like Bruce Lee, that kind of philosophy, and that snappy punch. And he talks about fighting like that from that perspective, and that's what makes him really interesting. He thinks outside the box and the square, whatever. But he just got a good old fashioned fucking mauling. He got mauled.
You got a bit of reverb on your voice. Are you going to the toilet or?
I'm in the kitchen.
Oh, lovely. Anyway, I turned when I was watching the highlights of that particular fight. I turned it off straight away and I went straight to the royal wedding.
Oh, that would have been riveting.
Yeah, it was great.
Two action-packed events in one day. Are you all right, or
Yeah, no, I'll be fine.
have you come down yet?
Not really, not really. What do you think of it? Did you watch it?
No, I didn't watch it.
No, you should have. It was good. Oh,
I saw every man and their dog on social media writing about it, taking photos and putting love hearts with it.
yeah, it's beautiful.
Like, yeah, love's a beautiful thing. There's no doubt about it. But
yeah,
I couldn't give a fuck about him. Like,
it's all just so pompous to me, isn't it? I get it, the royal bloodline and all that sort of stuff, but to me, it's just a continuation of the privilege.
what about the fucking royal bloodline? What? Who cares? What do you mean?
Well,
they were born.
No, that's what I'm saying.
These people were born.
Yeah, that's right. But it's a continuation of the privileged rich and the underprivileged, which is us, looking on. That's what it feels like to me every time I see something about the royals. I just think, this pompous rich situation there that has carried on over the ages, and here we are, the underprivileged, looking at it all.
Yeah, it's weird. It's really weird. I'm yet to wrap my head around.
Do you know the royals? The royals started around 849. The royal bloodline started then.
Did it 849?
849.
You're joking. That's ages ago.
It is. That's. I mean, when you look at the graph and how it's all connected and stuff like that, it's a pretty long graph. But
yeah,
little things that I was looking at it sort of this morning. The little things like Mary II in 1662 was married to her husband, who was her first cousin, King William III. So what is that? How much of that was going on?
Yeah, they show some of the royal bloodline over a timeline, and they show people like portraits of people who were from the royal bloodline, and they've got inbred disabilities.
Well, that could be. Yeah.
You see a lot of it. You see it, and like the underbite of the jaw and the elongated skull and stuff. Yeah, it's true. I watched a doco on it, and it was saying how a lot of the incestual times back then in the royal family led to different deformities of the skull and
looking at
the bone structure.
Looking at some of the photos and that of when you click on to so going back to those times in the 1200s, 1300s, 1400s, whatever, but whether they're perfect depictions of what they actually look like, but they all there's something about their faces or it just doesn't look right.
Don't root your cousin.
Exactly.
Or it's up to you.
It's up to you. Yeah, right.
It's weird, eh? It's the whole thing, the whole concept spins me out. Like how they're just born and they're just loved.
They are.
Considered gods or whatever. The masses flock to watch their weddings, and it's just weird. It's fucking weird.
It keeps.
It's not normal.
Someone told me once it keeps England together. It keeps England. I don't know.
Does it?
Well, someone said that to me once, and
how come all the other countries can't? Why are we all okay?
There is some royalty in other countries. They're I'm not sure where it's at.
Well, we're doing all right. I guess that we've got the Union Jack on our flag, so we're a bit of a part of that.
Yeah, no, we've been kept together.
What do you think about that? What do you think about the Union Jack on the flag?
I don't think much about it at all. Why?
Doesn't make. Yeah, I don't think much about it when you do, though. It does feel weird that we have another country's flag in the corner of our flag, doesn't it?
Well, they just conquered everything. That's sailing around. Captain Cook. They all got on the boats and decided to take control of all the lands that they bumped into. And
it should be. Yeah, I know people have died for that flag and honoured that flag, and I don't want to sound disrespectful, but in reality, in a perfect world, our flag would probably be different. Do you think?
Well, look,
if you really went from the roots of independent, like if you went from the roots of history in Australia, the Aboriginal flag really, they're the people who occupied the land first, and it was taken away from them.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah,
moved in on. So I guess really, when you break it down,
you're right. That's exactly how it all sort of started and the land.
Well, imagine they're just walking around, fishing, fucking making fires, just living off land.
Yep.
And next minute, this boat rocks up, and these people have these big pointy sticks that they shoot sharp things out at you and burst your skin open, and they just take over everything. You've just pretty much been living in peace for the last however many years.
Yep.
and next minute you got to do what these people who look different to us says. Like, I get it. I get why there's bitter history there, but I also don't understand why sometimes there's, like some people get really upset, like it's like this generation's done it to them.
Yeah.
When we've all kind of got to kind of learn to.
I suppose it brought the industrial age to the fore, didn't it? I mean, they came over. They had some good ideas about, the white people had good ideas about how to do this and how to do that, and everything became industrial farming and all that sort of stuff. So it changed.
Money took over.
It changed everything.
Yeah, they were pretty happy without the money. There's no doubt. Fuck, we're getting deep. What are we talking
about? What? Go for it.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, I was going to say money is the root of all evil. Basically, that was going to be the whole speech. But
it is. I agree.
Well, it is, but also, okay, that's the way the world works now. You need money to kind of thrive in the society we live in. If you don't want to live for money, best off going up to somewhere in the hills.
Survive.
Well, survive. You know what I'm saying is, in order to. Yeah, that's a good point too. You actually need a lot of it to fucking be able to just live here, aren't you? If you're living in suburbia or you're living in like a city or a town, you need money, or that's what I was saying. If you don't want to live for the dollar, you're best off going to live in the mountains where, like in Nimbin and places like that where people just live off the land and live in trees and shit. Like, go do that. But if you're going to live in a frigging town and a city, you better be making some paper, or you're not really eating, you're not doing anything.
Well, there's a lot of homeless people in Sydney that are in that situation. They've got no money, and they can't do anything other than what they do.
There's a really bad stat, and I can't remember the stuff off the top of my head, but of the deaths of homeless people in England.
No.
Because of I remember when I was there in 2005, walking around and just seeing homeless people everywhere. It was like freezing cold.
Yeah.
So people are just freezing to death over there on the streets. It's just so sad.
Yeah. Well, America's the same.
How it gets to that, like, fuck, how bad's it going? How bad are you going if you can't? Like, why can't they clean themselves up and get on welfare? And I know it's harder than that because a lot of psychological problems as well. A lot has a lot to do with it. But you think, like, hang on. If they want, they could get up, clean themselves up a little bit, go and have a meeting with a welfare place and try and see if they're eligible for government assistance until they get on their feet where they can get their own place. And they don't see it all like that, like a plan like that. I guess they're just living for the moment and they're overwhelmed by it all and they don't know what to do. So they just they can't pay rent. They can't hold a job down. It's so sad. like, how can you not survive when there's opportunities? That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Or is there no opportunities and I'm just stupid? I don't know.
We don't know the stories. We don't know how they ended up there or how they got to that certain point and what their past lives were like, and broken families or whatever. And
there's a backstory.
No, absolutely.
Individual case.
It'd be interesting to know where individually they all come from. So, but
a lot of them end up. A lot of people who are abused, they end up choosing that kind of escapism mentality where, getting on drugs or gets them away from all that, and next minute they're hooked on it and they need the drugs and they're spending all their money on drugs. That's why they're homeless as well. They've fucking put drugs as a priority because it's become a need instead of a want, and it's taken over their soul pretty much, so they're living for that. And quite often what goes with that is not paying your rent, not holding down a job, not being able to have a roof over your head, not being able to eat properly, so you end up on the street.
A lot of them drop out, I think, of the natural, because they just can't get into the society the way things are. They drop out like they drop out of university or whatever. You drop out of school because you just don't believe it. It's not you, and so there's a lot that end up on the streets because they don't want to be part of the what they see as shit.
We're solving a few world problems today, aren't we?
Aren't we right? There's there used to be a lot of mental institutes around, people that weren't right in the head that went to these places and stayed at these places. But when they all closed down, I'm not sure when that was, the 50s or 60s or whatever, a lot of people ended up on the streets.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough one. I don't have the answers of how to fix it all, I guess.
Life is tough.
Life is tough, yes, certainly is.
You know what twists my tits?
What twists your tits?
Yeah, a lot of things, but how fast cars are allowed to go. You know, for me, the car manufacturers have got a lot to answer for. I mean, they should take a fair bit of responsibility in regards to the statistics on the road. What do you think?
Yeah, I often think that when I get in a nice car, why the hell can you go 250 k's per hour?
Yeah, why is there 600 horsepower under the bonnet?
Yeah, it's. I think that's something that you'll see dead in years to come.
You think?
Well, I reckon they're going to have to somehow pass. Well, they really should. If you really thought about it, why the fuck can you go 250 k's in a car that's able to do it? When the speed limit max is 110?
Yeah, no,
in
it
Australia,
doesn't make any sense. On most speedos, even just your basic 4-cylinder car, the speedo goes up to at least 140, 160, and in most cars you can get to that point. So if there's a limit, why does it go past that limit?
Yeah, and I love driving a nice car and having that big power. It's a cool thing. It's a fun thing to experience. But yeah, I've always thought, geez, is it ever going to just be like a car can't go any faster than 110?
Yeah,
the speed limit in Australia. Like, the smart thing to say would be that's all that is available in regards to power at your foot.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know.
Mate, the power in some of the car, I mean, even just your basic Ford and Holden 6 cylinders, they can fly, and they've got a heap of grunt. And
I still love, out of all the cars I've ever driven and had, the bloody Holden, like the R8s and the V8 Holdens, the muscle cars.
You got a Club Sport there for a little while, didn't you? When you
I had
playing,
a Club Sport in 2005. Yeah, when the new Club Sport came out, I got that, and that just felt like a man's car. It felt like
that was ridiculous.
Beast.
The power in that, I drove that a few times, and the power in that was just ridiculous.
Scary, isn't it? I was like, shit, because I'm not a rev head, so.
What do you colour that for? Then?
Oh, I just think it's a man's car. Like, it just felt like a bloke's car.
Man.
Like, I thought, everyone's getting BMWs and Audis, and I just used to look at them and think, it's a bit of a pussy kind of looking car,
Mm-hmm.
Some of them look a bit like, not feminine, but just, I don't know, it just didn't look like a bloke's car. And I thought, I don't know, this looks like a bloke's car. And I like the look of them. They're bigger. They got big cabins, like big seats. And I'm tall, so it feels right to sit in a bigger car. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to go back to a sedan now because I drive a full drive.
Yeah. Well, even the car you've got, that's a 4-cylinder, isn't it? The one you have, the SUV. Yeah, I think it is.
No, I think it's 6, isn't it? I couldn't tell you. That's how little I know.
No, I think it's a 4. But I mean, that can get up to speeds, ridiculous speeds, and you can get to that speed pretty quickly and stuff like. So for me, I reckon you get a cocky human plus a car. That's a dangerous mix, and mate, there's so many accidents because of speed. Slow the car. The manufacturers should slow the cars down. They can't go over 80 k's, and there's not a quick, like when you put your foot down, it's so quick. You get the power so quickly.
Yeah.
They should slow all that down, where you slowly in increments can get to a certain speed.
It'd be interesting to see what speeds. Like most of the average speed of the crash is at. I wonder what the average speed is, because you wouldn't think it'd be the high speeds like 110s and that when people are on freeways because traffic's kind of all moving in the one direction. Is there more crashes like at intersections and things? That's what I found interesting when I go to like Thailand or Bali or places like that. They don't have lights they do have lights in some places, but more so just intersections where everyone slows down and all just slowly trickles into each other and moves around each other.
It's madness, though, isn't it?
It's madness, but I reckon it's safer.
Yeah, maybe.
Because a lot of crashes too from running reds, running like putting the foot down when it's going orange and trying to get through someone else is leaving early or whatever, fucking bang, like big collision like that, T-bones and things like that. Whereas where you all slow down, say in Bali, you just slow down and put your feet on the ground on either side of the bike, and you just all kind of slowly merge into each other and go past each other. Yeah, like less collision, like reaction.
Too many cars at once. You've obviously got to slow down and merge in and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there is horrific accidents over there as well. Just a lot of it's from idiot tourists flying around. And
Anyway,
but
I reckon car manufacturers should slow the cars down.
You're going to piss off our RevHead listeners.
Yeah, don't give a shit. And then
cop that.
You then you can't when you press the accelerator down with your foot, you can't get that quick speed up.
Yeah, that spurt of power. Yeah.
So if everyone's in the same got the same ability in their cars, everything would just slow down. Everything would just flow. There's no need for speed.
No need for speed.
No, it's like anything. It's like everything in this life, isn't it? It's all about fast and fast food.
Yeah, well, no. Again, it comes down to money again, because it's all about marketing and why. How hard is it going to be for one car company to sell the same speed car as the other company?
Yeah. Exactly.
Like with this, it's like this has got power is a big selling point. People want that power. They want makes them feel good, and their friends talk about it. It's all about the marketing and money of it.
Of course it is. Money makes the world go.
Money again. Here we are again.
That's it. What songs? Do you remember songs that came out, or the songs that you listened to, or whatever, that had an impact on your life?
That was a random segue into talking about something.
Well, I knew as soon as you start yelling, I know we've got to finish it.
Have we what? Have I heard songs?
What songs have had an impact in your life? I mean, whatever it might have been, whether you listened to it and you went, "Wow, listen to that," or it changed.
That's happened a lot with a lot of different songs. To the ones the most that stand out.
Well, just the one, just pick one.
Oh, that's not easy to answer, mate. Just give me a second. When I was little, I remember liking "What About Me" by Moving Pictures.
Oh yeah.
Not the Shannon Noll version.
No, the original.
He didn't he belted it out. He gave it a good whack. Yeah, the original Moving Pictures.
I love that. What did you like about it? What did it change?
I think I loved, first of all, the bloke's voice, and then I think I love, because it gets big and anthemic, doesn't it? It gets like a big drum. It's got a big drum track from memory.
It's got the big tom sound.
The toms. Orchestral. Yeah, I think that's what I love, because I love drums from when I was real little. Like, you guys bought me a drum kit when I was 4.
Yep.
And I remember loving the drums in that.
Wasn't that a mistake?
And then I love Twisted Sister. We're Not Going to Take It. Because of the drum intro.
Yeah, but what about the way they looked? It was like a kiss thing. People like the way
it spun me out a bit. It used to scare me a bit, but I remember I just loved that. We're not going to take it. Whatever drum beat it is. And I remember that I learnt that on the kick and snare, and that I became obsessed because I could play that song.
Well,
that was my favourite
song.
What
about the meaning of the song? It was a bit of an anthem. We're not going to take it. The young kids are standing up. We're not going to take it anymore.
Yeah, I was a bit young to get into the anarchy stage of things, but I just remember loving drums. I think drums you showed me something in a Phil Collins song once, or a Genesis song. I think the song's "Take Me Home," and it's got this drum roll in it, and it just
keeps going towards the end.
I always wanted to play that somewhere. I always thought I was going to be a drummer.
That's interesting. We bought you a drum kit. Wasn't that a big mistake?
Yeah, thanks. And you always were tapping like beats in the car, and I was fascinated with how it was in time and it all made sense. Like, so from a very young age, I've seen rhythm, and the rhythm's been a big part. And I think that's part and parcel why I never got into lead guitar. I think because I just love rhythm so much. I feel like I play drums on the guitar a little bit.
Yeah, that's true.
But my riffs are very basic and they're very rhythmic. Yeah. Like, it's all about the groove and that,
Well, I was more. I mean, that's interesting what you're saying and how that all sort of ties in. But I was really asking the question of what song had an impact in your life in regards to your emotions and what it actually did, or did it make you think anything differently about life or whatever? Any particular song?
I remember there was an instrumental, and I know it. I'm not going to hum it out because people won't know it. That used to play, and I was really young when you went to England for all that time. I didn't see it, but the song reminded me of you being away. And every time I'd hear it, I'd think you were going away again, and I'd cry.
Who made it? Who made the song?
It's just music. It's down, 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 down. Used to play it all the time. It was like this Dun, 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 dun.
No. No.
Sounds like a game show right now, but it sounds really different when you hear the original version.
Okay, you'll have to I'll have to.
It's just all like
No,
sad
can't get
music.
it. Can't get it. No, I'd like to know what
Sad
that is.
music.
Actually, that'd be interesting to go back and try and find that.
Fuck. Now I have to.
You
find
have
it.
to. You'll have to, mate. Both from
I don't know how. I don't know the name of the artist or the name of the song, and it's just an instrumental, so it's not like I have lyrics I can chase up.
mate. I remember when Queen had big album, the Bohemian Rhapsody, A Night at the Opera. They had all these big songs and big sounding, the big wall of sound and stuff like that. And I remember when I was 16 in 1976, after that album, they were going to release their next album and their next single from that album, which was Find Somebody to Love.
Yeah, that's a great
Somebody
song.
to Love. And I remember I was 16. I had this big stereo system in in my bedroom. And it was about 9 o'clock at night, and I remember the radio. I had the radio station on in the headphones, and I had it blaring. And they said, "We're going to play the new Queen song very soon." And I waited and waited and waited, and it didn't come on till about 4 a.m. in the morning. It was a world premiere of their new song from the album, "Somebody to Love." And I remember I stayed up the whole night and waited for that particular time, and I was pretty disappointed when I first heard it. I thought, I wanted it to be a big rocky type song, or
Yeah,
and it was. But the more I heard it, the more I liked it, and how good they were with harmonies and stuff. But I remember how it influenced me, that enough for me to stay up the whole night, being 16 years old, that I had to wait for their song to come out.
yeah, it's dedication. That's why I reckon that's why music's changed so much over the years, is because it used to be. It was more of a journey to be able to find the music you wanted. Like, you had to go on a bit of a journey, and the result was the music that you were looking for. And it was like you really appreciated it because you had to go through shit to get it.
Yep.
What I mean by that is, like, you used to have to go to the record store to buy your favorite album when you heard it was coming out via reading something, or seeing an ad somewhere on TV, and there was no internet for you to search shit up.
That's right.
So you'd hear it's coming out, you'd go down to get your album. Sometimes it'd be sold out, or that wasn't available, so you had to order it. If you liked obscure bands, and that you had to order it and wait for it, and then you'd get a call in a week, and it'd come in, and you go back and you get it. You'd get your CD, or back then your record. You'd go in your car and you'd sit there, open it, put it in your CD player in your car. If not, you wait till you get home and put it on your friggin' vinyl player, whatever you call it. And you sit there, you read like the lyrics, and you see all the artwork, and you've got it in your hands, you can touch it.
Yep.
And all those little things, like, might only be 2-3% each, but it amalgamates and adds up to a big 60-70% part of the experience.
Absolutely.
So you really appreciate it, and it's more of a journey thing now. You like a song that's on in a cafe, you hold your phone up to it, and it tells you what song you've got it in your library in 1 second.
And it's in iTunes or in
Yeah, it just bang, you got it. It's do you want to add this to your library? Yes, bang. I've got a song on the way home. I listened to it 50 times.
Yep.
Whereas there's no journey to get the music now. It's just so available. I don't know. I've always had that little theory.
No, that's exactly how it's all changed, and how it's impacted on our life in different eras and stuff. And now you can, as you said, you can just go to iTunes, you can look and you type anything in, and you can get it. But there's nothing physical about it other than hearing the sound.
Yeah,
but
it doesn't have the same feel. It's different. Music's lost its mystique a little bit. Now, if you like a band, you go on YouTube, you can see everything about them. I used to like how some bands would only give you a couple of photos here and there, and you're like, what else are they doing? Like, and then you hear that a DVD of their tour was coming out, you'd be like, fuck,
yeah, that's right.
I get to see all behind the scenes and listen to them talk and get interviewed. And now, if you like a band, you go on there's 1,000 YouTube interviews, 1,000 live performances, 1,000 friggin', you can stream their music. Like, it's just nothing fun about getting to the end result anymore, I suppose, as you look back. Because back in the day when we didn't have that, if someone had come down and said, hey, you can have any music, any song, any album you want in 1 second, would you rather do that than have to go through all the shit what you do now to get to your music? You'd say yes, wouldn't you?
Oh, of course. To me, it brings back the convenience thing, the fast cars. Everything's got to be fast and in front.
The world's getting lazier.
In front of you, fast food. It's got to be there quick. Give me something. All the patience is gone.
Everything's trying to make life easier, and that's probably why there's a lot of depression. They think we can, make life easier. Everyone's going to be okay and feel good, but part of being sane is doing things to get a result. Not like back in the day, you have a TV. Right. Your TV came about, you had to get up off your ass and change the channel. Everyone was like, "Fuck that." They made a control. You can sit on your lounge and flick.
Everything's over so quickly. You order a pizza, bang, you shove down your guts and you go, bang. Why did I do that for?
What now? Now? Yeah. There's no journey. There's no time in between the wanting and the end result. It's just bang, got it. Everything's consumable.
Okay, we could get into psychology.
We are solving.
There's a bit of psychology there. That's we could get into that. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's why all those old school famous sayings are around. I reckon, like, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey, and that makes so much sense as you get older. It's like, fuck it, it's all about that. Like when I remember playing in the band for the first time and in your garage, and you're just too scared to play in front of anyone because it's embarrassing, and you're just jamming, and all that time and thinking about, we're going to play a gig one day and building up to that.
That's
and
right.
Then you play the gig, and then you like play another gig, and more people come, and then next minute you're writing an album and you're frigging making an album. Like all that, looking back, was the fun.
Yeah.
At the time, you just don't fucking know because you just want what's ahead. But if you had your time again with this head, this brain, and this, these experiences, you'd go back with that knowing to enjoy those moments of not knowing.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's well said. That's right.
Yeah, it's funny. Let's just, as life goes on, you realise how fun all the process of it was. And that's what it's all about. Life happens while, what's it say? Time's the thing that happens while life passes by. Some shit. I don't know.
I think I've heard something like that, but I can't remember how it's actually stated. But
life's what happens while you're waiting, or some shit like that.
Yeah. So now you can get on YouTube. You can record a song that you've got in your head, and you can, and you can become a star by doing that sort of stuff if it hits the right nerves of people. But did you see the 21-year-old Chinese girl that put up a post? She had something like 25 million hits. Anthem, their country anthem.
Yeah.
She did it in a bit of a funny way with some hand movements and stuff like that. They arrested her and they're putting her in jail for 5 days over in China.
5 days in the slammer just for making fun of the anthem, mate.
Just showing a bit of disrespect for the country and.
Well, they won't do it again, will they? I think it's a good lesson learned.
That's right.
As long as they don't slap her in there with a friggin' cannibal or something.
Yeah, she's a bit of a singer and she's got a lot of followers anyway. But
she'll be more. That's the best publicity she could ever have.
Yeah, absolutely. But 5 days in the slammer for that, wow.
Yeah, it's heavy, isn't it? Fuck, moving to China. I'll be bloody put in jail every fucking 5 minutes. Yeah, so I don't know where we were going with all that. But
no, we were just floating along. It just went wherever it wanted to go. All good.
Basically, the journey. Enjoy the moment.
Absolutely.
Enjoy the now. Enjoy the process. And because when you get there, quite often you think, it's not all that great.
The trouble is,
it's actually better when we thought it was going to be great.
There's not much of a process now. It's just everything's so quick and in your hands, and that's it.
No effort to get the result means often disappointment and just wanting more.
Yep.
Never being truly satisfied. Oh, right, that fucking that tattooed on your tits.
That's recorded. We've got it.
What else? I'm actually putting together a 30-day meal plan, actually a low-carb meal plan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just because I find like all my clients, most of the thing they ask for most is people are I'm one of them, by the way. I'm not bagging people, but people are fucking dumb, eh? Like, I'm one of them. I'm the person, I'm talking about myself in this game. I am the dumb person who, like, I've learnt through doing this business that people want to be told, their hands held and told exactly what to do and when and how.
Well,
gone is the exploring and self.
That's what we're just talking about. It's
no process. They just want results.
The quickness of it all.
It all ties in. So what I'm trying to do is, I like
You're
to
taking
help
advantage
my
of that.
clients.
That's what you're trying to do.
Well, yeah, of course, but I also I want to make it as easy as possible for people, but then at the same time, I want to teach them to fend for themselves a bit because I'm not going to be their fat loss coach forever. Like they're going to have to go out eventually into the field that is life and learn, and they can't just keep bringing me into their 50s and 60s and 70s. They can, and I'll help them, but it'd be good to know it yourself so you don't have to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm always torn. Like I'm trying to make programs for people that have everything in it. Eat this on this day at this time. Don't do this at this time. Move in this time at this. So a program that is just to the T. Like try and get to bed at this time. When you wake, do this. Like I'm getting to that point where people want me to friggin' actually. It's like they want me to sleep next to them, wake up with them. Get up now, mate. Come on.
Yeah.
Up you get. Let's go for a walk. Okay, you're gonna have a low carb snack here. Like, so I'm trying to cater to that, but I'm also a bit torn with, no, you need to learn. You know, don't ring me when you're at the like. I don't mind because it helps people, especially in the initial stages. But people will ring me when they're at the footy and like, oh, there's hot dogs here, and all my friends are having a hot dog. Like, that's great. I'll help you through it, but we want to get you to the point where you can do like fend for yourself and not need to ring someone to get out of trouble. You know, like I had to talk to someone. Okay, everyone's having burgers around you. Have a burger. Take the bun off. Take the bun off and get it without sauce, the creamy, sugary sauce.
Keep the middle. Get rid of the outside.
Keep the middle. Eat all the good stuff. The bun's good. It keeps it together and it's a nice texture, the fluffiness in there. I get it. But if you just ate the bun on its own and the food on its own, the food tastes nice. The real stuff tastes nicer.
Yeah.
You know, so just have more, have double the content and no buns, and you can have double the fucking meat and whatever else is in there, avocado and salad.
Yeah.
Have double that. That way you're not getting the carbs and the glucose, you're just getting the fats and proteins more so, and your body's churning through it and it's not storing it as fat.
Okay. Well, it sounds well. Yeah. So you've got your time cut out for you. Then you're putting all these moments together through the day for these people to follow. Yeah.
So right now I'm at I've got it in front of me here. Week 1, Monday through to Sunday, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then as an extension of that, I've got to write other things, make some other files that are like a grocery list, like what to get, because people they won't just read that and go, okay, but what do I get? They'll say, well, where do I get all this from? Like, okay, go to a grocery store. Here's your grocery list. So I'll give them a grocery list.
Cool.
And then on top of that, there's all other branches you can go off with, that people start asking other questions, and you kind of just learn as you go and as you speak with people what the majority of people are after. And what I've found is most people just seriously want their hand held through everything.
Yeah.
And fat loss is an emotional one too, because people get fat over time and they lose what they once were, healthy and vibrant and full of life and high energy, to become these big kind of overweight, miserable versions of what they once were. And when I help them get through the first initial tough stages of cutting out sugar and carbs, and that's overwhelming for them because their body's going through these changes and their emotions are flying and they're angry because they can't eat what they usually can.
Yep.
They got ghrelin as a hormone just being pumped out because they're used to eating at time, but now they're not, and they're eating different stuff. It's like it's like I'm a counsellor on the phone. Like people cry on the phone to me.
Right. Okay.
They cry. It's just so hard. It's so hard. I'm like, that's all right. Like it is hard. Your body's shocked. You've been a junkie for sugar and carbs for so long. Yeah. You've all of a sudden just stopped it. I've asked you to stop it. I told you the first week is going to be emotional.
It's a big change.
It's okay.
Big change. Yeah.
Ring me and we'll talk through. And most of my phone calls are talking new clients through, because after about a month or so, they get a routine and they realize, shit, okay, this is a more healthy, normal way to live opposed to what I was doing. And they become 85, 90% healthy, 10, 15% shit, which is fine as a balance.
Well, that's good. You're becoming like a life coach, really.
Well, it turns into being a counsellor, I guess you can call it that. It's a shit term because you feel like a wanker. I'm not a life coach.
No, but it's along that line.
But it's, you're helping people with their lives if you break it down, and it's fat loss. And it's, what's amazing is fat loss isn't that hard. It's not that hard. It's just we are so used to a different way. We've become slaves to this new way.
State of mind.
Yeah, our attitudes have changed because we're living in a world, as we said again, now everything's so available. To go and get all that nice, tasty, quick fix rubbish Back in the day, you had to have to make it or go to specialty shops. Now it is at the service stations on every corner. There's packaged.
That's right. It's all there.
Like quick hits.
Convenience.
Again, no journey. It's convenient. Everything's convenience. It's all tying in this podcast.
Mate,
Oh,
we're on fire. That's it.
what are we? Were we born in some other solar system
I tell you what,
and come down upon common folk to bestow our intelligence upon them?
exactly. We're from the Pleiades.
Oh, tell you what.
Listen, next time I walk into a room and there's people eating pizzas, I'm going to be ringing you. Everyone's ringing.
Ring me. I can help you through it. I'll probably be smacking one myself, but
Yes.
I can talk. Hey, I can talk anyone out of anything. No, that's true. That's what happens if people.
You won't talk me out of a
And it's-
pizza.
Oh, mate, I've got your friggin' disease of just I crave shit and get in my head these severe cravings, and I'll just attack. But now I'm good. I don't. I had to relearn myself. You have to relearn.
That's it. Your body. The hardest thing for your body to do is follow your mind, because your mind's so conditioned to what you see in front of you every day of your life. So to get your body to follow suit, it's a real state of mind, and it's a real process, and that's what you're doing with people. It's excellent.
Well, it's coming to the point now where scientifically fat loss is not hard. The hardest part of fat loss is retraining people's minds to not run to food as an addiction or an outlet. And not like, I don't know what the percentage is, but a large percentage of overweight people, I think just about everyone, it's emotional eating.
It is.
It's emotional.
It is.
So it's rewiring your brain. That is the trick. You can. I know what to do to be skinny, but doing it is a different thing.
Absolutely.
And it's not until you do it for a month, 2 months in a row, where you have a new lifestyle now, and you don't even think about that old way, because one, you're looking 100 times better, you're feeling 100 times better, and it's just the right thing to do.
If I take your brain out of your head and just leave your body sitting there, what's it going to do?
My body.
Yeah, what's your body going to do? Nothing.
I don't know, I felt like that a few nights out in the piss. Probably.
That's it.
I managed to find my way home eventually.
Oh, that's
so
good. But no, really, if you take your brain out of your
yeah, nothing.
nothing's going to happen.
Nothing.
It's just going to sit there doing nothing. So it's all about in your head.
It's very true. It's a very good way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
I had a really bad image of just slop, just on the ground, just a big.
Yeah, I did.
I don't know why I was nude in my head. That's weird,
Yeah.
eh? I'm always nude in my brain.
Or undies, yeah, something strange going on in your head.
So basically, today we've solved all sorts of problems. We've basically solved the UFC's dilemma. We've tackled trolls, internet trolls.
We've tackled fast cars.
Fast cars and convenience with music.
We've told
and
Des Hasler and Jared Hayne what to do. And
yep.
mate,
And basically we've cured obesity on the
there's
planet.
nothing more to say.